Okay, today we are at West Warwick, Rhode Island, and we're at the site of the Station Nightclub fire. On February the 20th, 2003, the band Great White played a concert at the Station Nightclub here in West Warwick. When they opened up the show with their opening song, Desert Moon, within 10 seconds, gerbs creating sparks behind the stage as a pyrotechnics display caught the ceiling on fire, and the entire building would burn to the ground. In a matter of 7 minutes, 100 souls were killed. Today we are visiting this very solemn site, which has been turned into a beautiful memorial and park to mark the spot where this tragedy happened. One of the members of the band Great White, the guitarist Ty Longley, a Pennsylvanian, was killed in this fire as he burned alive going back into the club to retrieve his guitar. As we walk through the sidewalks and the memorials here on this ground, you will notice the great love and care that was shown to make this memorial. Each individual person is surrounding what is a large concrete record on the ground, since this was a musical band and a club. Each person has their name displayed with their date of birth and date of death, and also an etched photograph where possible. During the summer, flowers and bushes line the outside of this memorial where this great tragedy happened on February 20th, 2003. Also, many members, families, and friends who still live in West Warwick still come here to memorialize their loved ones that were lost here. And you can often see pennies and quarters and flowers and other memorabilia left. The center of each record has a record spindle, and the grass is perfectly kept throughout the entire year. The area that we are in now was once the lobby. The lobby's where you would enter the building, show your ticket stub, and there was also a small concession and bar set up. Over in this area where we're looking out now was actually where the stage was. And this is where the fire started during the opening song of Great White's set, Desert Moon, which was a smash hit and also a music video on MTV and the Headbangers Ball. If you look closely at the memorial stones, you will notice a lot of stones that have the same last name, since there were many husband and wife, brother and sister, father, son, and daughter who attended this concert. And again, the area that we're passing by was where the stage was that the band Great White played and where the fire started. But this memorial is much more than a memorial to a tragedy and to those who lost their lives. It is also a memorial to heroism, the brave firefighters who arrived here within 5 minutes of the flames catching the roof on fire and helped to bring out a dozen people or so to safety as the crowds trampled one another trying to get out of the building, and the smoke from the styrofoam caused smoke inhalation. These firemen arrived and did whatever they could to get people out. Some people coming out on fire These firemen did the best they could to extinguish them, to bring them into a safe area, and then to try as quickly as possible put out this furnacing blaze. This is one of the worst nightclub disasters in all of American history, and a very sacred spot. This is the stone for Ty Longley, guitarist for Great White, who lost his life that evening, February 20th, 2003. There are also memorial stones for the many financial contributors to this memorial, which also were Masonic lodges, churches, businessmen and businesswomen, and other organizations who donated money to make this memorial possible. It was also from this tragedy that stricter standards in concerts would forever be affiliated with the tragedy that happened here on February 20th, 2003. Though the band Great White was criticized after the accident, it was more on the management and also the station nightclub ownership that allowed this to happen by packing too many people beyond the fire code and by not having the right materials for bands that are using pyrotechnics and allowing bands to come in using pyrotechnics. Many of those who survived this did so with permanent scars and burns throughout their body. This wall here specifically tells a minute-by-minute account of what happened at the station nightclub, from hours before the show to when the show starts, and then in the next 72 hours after the show. Each panel is a timeline. Video footage, about 13 minutes worth of the actual incident, still can be found on YouTube and other video sites. But I warn you, watching it can be very disturbing, because you will see people trapped with smoke pouring out, a few individuals running out of the building while on fire, and a couple people trampling over people who are dying and already deceased. Each year, on the anniversary of this fire, many of those who survived this fire, along with their families and friends, locals, firemen, churches, and other groups, come to the solemn site and remember the tragedy that happened here at the station nightclub fire. If you're ever in the area of Connecticut, Rhode Island, or Massachusetts, I definitely recommend that you stop here and pay respect to one of the saddest days in all of American history. For on this site, American citizens who were free, wanting to have an evening out of fun and entertainment, and paying to do so, came into this building. Many of them would never walk out. Many of them would never return home to their families. And a local town, a nation, would be scarred forever by the incident that happened here on February 20th, 2003. So it is for that reason that I come here today to pay honor and show respect to those who lost their lives, all 100 of them, on that evening. As many of you know, I am a history buff, and I've done many videos throughout the country at different Civil War sites, Revolutionary War sites, and in big cities all across the East Coast. But it is these small towns and these small incidents that sometimes have the biggest effect on me. Growing up as a child of the 1980s, the band Great White was also at the forefront of music during my time as a young man. This was a place I'd always desired to come for about the last 17 years and finally made it out here today. I thought that I would share this with you and give you an idea, maybe, of a trip to make for yourself. So again, this is Frank Marone, and I am here at the site in West Warwick of the Station Nightclub fire that happened on February the 20th, 2003, where 100 people passed away.